Hi Ray, how have you been feeling?
About the same, I guess. Still pretty depressed.
Okay. I see based on the depression inventory you filled out, your overall score went down from a 34 last week to about a 28 this week. Has it felt like your depression symptoms have gone down over the past week?
Maybe. Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, well that's good. Now why do you think you've been feeling a little less depressed?
I don't know, really. I mean, I had a pretty good week at school this week. I got one of my papers back I was worried about and ended up getting an A on it. So, I went and talked to my professor afterwards, and he said it was one of the best papers he got, actually. So I was really worried I was going to fail, but, since I'm the oldest one in my class.
What went through your mind when you got your paper back?
That I maybe shouldn't have worried about it so much, that, I don't know, I can do well in school and that my professor's actually noticing me in a good way.
Okay, so it looks like we have two good examples of why you felt better this week. For one, you did really well on your paper that you were initially really worried about not doing so well on. And two, you went and spoke to your professor who gave you some really positive feedback. He even stated that your paper was one of the best ones he received this week.
Yeah.
Can you see how you're thinking and what you did affected how you felt in a really positive way?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know why I exactly went and spoke to him after class. I just thought that I should, but I guess that's part of the reason my numbers went down this week.
It definitely sounds like it would be part of the reason why your numbers went down this week. Now, before we go ahead and set the agenda for the day, I'd like to check in on you with your medication. I know it's been about 3 weeks now that you've been taking them.
Yeah, it's been fine. Now that I set my alarm on my phone to remember to take them on a regular basis, it's been better. When I was forgetting to take them, like we talked a bit ago, I was getting so dizzy and easily annoyed. I don't know. I haven't really felt like that much since my alarm reminds me to take them that much.
That's wonderful to hear. I'm glad since we discussed setting your alarm to remind you to take your medication that it's helped. Okay, Ray, now that we've gone over your medication, it's now time to go ahead and set the agenda for the week. What has been going on that you'd like to work on this week with me?
Well, I gotta find a job soon. I'm tired of feeling like I'm not accomplishing anything. I just want to be the man of my household. I'm tired of Danielle having to do everything in the house, I just want to...
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and put wanting to be in charge of the household on the agenda?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think there's anything else going on that you'd like me to help you with?
Well, Danielle's been getting on me about staying in the house by myself again.
Okay, do you think we should call that getting out of the house?
Yeah.
And do you think there's anything else?
No, I don't think so. That's all.
So, how about when did you feel the worst this week? What was going on?
I was sitting at home not doing anything. I think that's when I felt the worst. And I was just wishing I could be working and, be in charge. And I really didn't want to go to my AA meeting either.
Were there any other times that were particularly rough this week for you?
No, those were the worst.
Okay, do you think we should also put going to AA meetings on the agenda?
Yeah, that's fine.
Are there any other problems you think that are likely to come up this week?
No, I really don't think so.
Okay. Now, did anything else happen this week that's possibly important for me to know?
Yeah, I was about half hour late to one of my night classes.
Do you think that's something that we need to discuss today?
No, I told my professor the bus was running late again, and he seemed cool with it, so no.
Okay. Well, that was definitely nice of your professor. I'm definitely happy to hear he's understanding about the bus situation. Is there anything else going on?
No, not that I can really think of.
Okay, well that's fine. Now, can you go ahead and tell me something that happened this week that was positive or maybe a situation in which you felt a little bit better?
Well, I watched Frozen this week with my two girls, and they absolutely loved that movie. My oldest just loves to sing along with that movie. And I also got a call from one of my old buddies, actually. I wasn't going to take the call, but I heard around that he was doing well, and I ended up talking to him for like half an hour or something. So, actually, we might meet up and get lunch or something soon.
That's definitely wonderful to hear. I've only really heard great things about that movie, Frozen. How was it spending time with your two girls?
I don't know, it was nice, I guess. I really haven't been able to spend too much time with them lately, so, since they're both in school now. But, yeah, they just grow up so fast.
Kids definitely do grow up way too fast. But what was going through your mind when you picked up your phone when your buddy called you?
I just thought, man, it's been so long since I heard from Frankie. I mean, last I talked to him was when we were doing time together in Beaver County over like 15 years ago or something. He's doing really well, actually. He got himself a bricklaying job, and he actually said if my back wasn't so bad, he could get me a job too.
So it sounds like the conversation went pretty well overall.
Yeah, definitely. It definitely did. I look forward to seeing him soon. I might get together with him and his girls.
That definitely sounds like a fun play date for you and your girls. Now, I was thinking maybe we could next move on to talk about your homework assignment from last week. How does that sound?
That sounds just fine.
Alright, good. Now, I know we talked about you taking your resume into the Career Center at your school. Can you tell me how that went?
Yeah, sure. Well, at first I thought that after I left you last week, there wasn't going to be any way I'd end up getting an appointment, but anyways, I called right after I left here, actually. I ended up getting an appointment on Tuesday. And at first I thought, man, this is way too fast. I don't have time to edit it, before I take it to see them.
Were there any other thoughts you were having at that moment?
I don't know, what if they think I'm stupid, Only stupid people have to take their resume to Career Center to be edited, but whatever.
Any other thoughts?
What if they want me to redo the whole thing? That just takes so much time.
And did you go to the appointment on Tuesday?
Yeah, I did.
And how did it go?
It went pretty well, I guess. They told me I had a pretty good start. I don't know, me and the guy filled in some of the gaps. I was kind of embarrassed, though.
What made you feel embarrassed?
That I had all the gaps, when I was in prison. The guy asked me about it too, and I told him I spent time in jail and prison. I expected him to be weird about it or something.
Did he end up being weird about it?
No, he was cool about it, actually. He helped me with different ideas to make it flow a little, even gave me some pointers for some interviews, if they asked.
So how embarrassed do you feel now about it?
Not much, really, I don't know. It was nice to see someone I care about it for a change, but who knows, maybe he probably spent some time in ACJ.
What other thoughts went through your mind when you were working with him?
This guy's pretty cool. Maybe we could chill sometime.
Any other thoughts?
Not really.
Okay, so you were able to think about possibly making a new friend with the guy from the Writing Center. Have you had any thoughts about it since?
I don't know. When I was talking with him, I decided to make another appointment to see him next week for some interview help. But I don't know. He seemed pretty cool and laid back. Plus, he had some great pointers this week.
So it sounds like the homework assignment went pretty well, and that you plan to go back and get some help again this week, which is fantastic.
Yeah, I'm glad I went.
I'm very glad to hear that the homework assignment this past week went so well. Now it's kind of time for us to prioritize our agenda for today's session so we can figure out how to spend our time together. I know you mentioned you want to be in charge of your household, you want to get out of the house more, and that you want to go to your AA meetings. Is there any other problems that has been even more important than those?
Well, I've been blowing off seeing my brother for the past 2 weeks. I feel pretty bad about that.
Okay, I can write that down as well. Is there anything else you'd like to discuss on the agenda?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, well, I don't know if we'll get to everything, but if we run out of time, are there any things that we can put off until next week?
Probably the stuff about the AA. No, I didn't want to go to that meeting last week, but I did anyway, so it was just a thought I had.
Mm-hmm.
And also the stuff about my brother, I don't know. I mean, I've waited this long to see him. It's another 2 weeks.
Okay, well, we can definitely put those last on our list on the agenda, and if we can see if we get to them. Does that sound all right?
Yeah, that's alright with me.
Okay, good. All right, Ray, let's look at the agenda. Where do you think we should start? We could talk about you wanting to be in charge of the household, your mood when you're at home or at school, or getting out of the household. What would you like to start with today?
Oh, definitely being in charge of the household. I mean, I'm just sick of feeling like less than a man. You know, not that I feel like a woman or anything, no offense to you or anything, but I don't know. I just want to feel like I can take care of my family for once.
Okay. All right, Ray, how about you go ahead and give me an overview of what happened this week? Where were you when you started having those thoughts of being less than a man?
I don't know. I think it started on Monday. I'd gotten up. Then I got the girls ready for school. And I can't drive them to school because I don't have my license, but I try really hard to make sure they're ready when Danielle's ready in the morning. I'm really trying to be a good dad, but anyways, I got them ready. Danielle took the girls to school and left to go to work, and I was home alone.
Mm-hmm.
My mind just started to wander, and I don't know, I just thought, man, I'm just such a failure. Why can't I just take care of my family? I mean, Danielle must think I'm so worthless.
Okay, so you were helping Danielle with getting your girls ready for school, and after she left with your girls, you started to have thoughts about being worthless. Do you have any other thoughts that were going through your mind?
Oh yeah, definitely. Some were like, why can't I just be a man? You know? Why can't I leave and go to a job? I'm so worthless sitting here by myself.
Okay. All right, Ray. It appears that you were able to identify some of your automatic thoughts. And how do you think these thoughts made you feel?
Let's see. Angry at first, then just really depressed. I didn't even want to get up after that.
Okay. Well, let me tell you a little more about these automatic thoughts that you're having. We call them automatic because they just kind of pop into our mind. Most of the time, you're probably not even aware of them, and you're probably much more aware of how you're feeling, such as angry or depressed. Even if you are aware of them, you probably don't think to evaluate how accurate your thoughts actually are. You just kind of accept them as true.
Yeah, okay.
But what you'll learn to do here with me in therapy is we'll first identify your thoughts, and then you'll be able to judge for yourself whether they're completely true or not even true at all. Do you think we can look at your first thought together about feeling less than a man? I have a worksheet we can fill out together to evaluate your first automatic thought.
Alright, sounds good.
Okay. So first let's write down when and where you were when you had this thought about being less than a man.
Well, like I said, it was Monday morning in the house.
Okay, good. So how about you go ahead and write that down here in the first column.
Right here?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Now, you said these thoughts started to occur when you were sitting at home by yourself?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So why don't you go ahead and write down under the second column, under situation, that you were sitting at home by yourself.
Okay.
Okay, good. Now, you mentioned that you were feeling less than a man. That was one of the thoughts you had?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so why don't we go ahead and write that down first under automatic thought.
Okay.
And you also mentioned that Danielle must think you're worthless.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we go ahead and write that down as well.
Okay.
Were there any other thoughts you were having when you were sitting at home?
Just that I should be working.
Okay, good. Why don't we go ahead and write that one down as well.
Okay.
Any other thoughts you can think of?
No, I think that's it.
Okay. So you mentioned thinking that Danielle must think you're worthless, thinking you're less than a man, that you should be working while you were sitting at home by yourself. Now, out of all these thoughts, which one would you say was the most emotionally charged? Which one made you feel the most distressed?
I think I'm less than a man, definitely.
Okay, so how about we go ahead and put a star next to that one, since we'll go ahead and that's the one we'll focus on today. Now, on a scale of 0 to 100, how much do you believe that thought?
Being less than a man?
Mm-hmm.
Probably like a 95.
Okay, so why don't you go ahead and put a 95 next to that thought?
Just right here.
Mm-hmm. Now, I want you to try and remember how you were feeling when you started to think that you were less than a man. What were you feeling?
I was just really angry and frustrated.
Okay, I'll go ahead and write down angry under emotions.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and write frustrated as well.
Okay.
Were there any other emotions you had?
Well, after I was sitting there for a while, I just started to get really sad too.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and write that one down as well. Now, on a scale of 0 to 100, 100 being the most angry you've ever been and 0 not being angry at all, how angry were you when you had that thought of being less than a man?
85.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and write that down. Now, how frustrated were you on that same scale?
Maybe a little more, so I'd say 90. 90 for frustrated.
Okay, and how about sad? How sad were you?
Probably like a 90 too.
Okay. Now, I want you to try and think about what evidence you have to support the thought that you're less than a man. Can you think of any evidence to support that thought?
Well, yeah, I just feel like men should be providing for their family. Since I can't find work, I can't provide for them.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and write down that men are supposed to be providing for their family. On a scale of 0 to 100, how much do you believe that statement?
95.
Okay. What other evidence do you have to support the thought that you're less than a man?
I don't know. I'm not a good father. In order for me to be a man, I should be a good father. And the only way to do that is to be providing.
And on a scale of 1 to 100, how much do you believe that statement?
I guess an 85.
Okay. I'll go ahead and write that down, that I'm not a good father if I'm sitting at home. Do you have any other evidence that you're less than a man?
No, I can't think of anything else.
Okay. So how about we go ahead and look at what evidence we have that you're being a good man? Can you think of anything that you're doing that would make you a good man?
I don't know. I'm going to school, but I don't know if that counts.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go ahead and write that down, that you're going to school to better yourself. How much on a scale of 0 to 100 do you believe that statement?
75.
Okay. Can you think of anything else that you're doing to better yourself?
I'm trying to find a job. I haven't stopped looking even though I'm in school.
Okay, good. I'll go ahead and write that down. And how much do you believe that you're trying to find a job?
Well, I'd say 100 for that.
Okay, good. Any other evidence you can think of?
No, not really.
Okay. How about any evidence do you have that you're a good father?
I spend time with my girls when I can. I give them whatever I can, but I just wish that it could be a little more sometimes.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and write down that you spend quality time with your girls. How much do you believe that you spend quality time with your girls?
98.
Okay, good. Do you have any other evidence that you're being a pretty good father?
I don't know, just hard as the man seeing Danielle do most of the work. I help her with what I can, but it should be a little more.
How about I write down that you help Danielle out as much as you can? How does that sound?
Yeah, I guess. I never really thought that I help her out much.
Okay. Well, Ray, you've kind of mentioned a couple times that you should help her out more, or that you should be able to provide for your family. These are what we call should statements, and are a pretty common thinking error. Should statements are they're kind of a fixed idea of how you should behave. And what happens is that you overestimate how bad it is, and that when these expectations aren't being met. Does that sound familiar at all?
Yeah. I guess I do say that a lot. I mean, I just feel like I should help out more. I know that I do help Danielle out. I mean, I know I do. It just doesn't feel like it's ever enough, though.
Well, do you think that it could be helpful to watch out for when you start to think that about things that you should do?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well, we'll just have you keep that in the back of your mind of when you start to have those should statements. Now, when we come back to this worksheet about looking at helping Danielle out, how much do you think that you help Danielle out as much as you can?
75.
Okay. Now, how much do you believe that you're being less than a man? What percentage do you think that thought makes you angry right now?
I mean, I don't think I'm that angry about it now, so maybe a 50?
Okay.
50 right now?
And how frustrated does that thought make you feel right now?
60.
Okay. And how sad does it make you feel?
Not too sad about it right now, so maybe like a 40.
Okay. Now, when we start to look at all the evidence that we've collected for your automatic thought of being less than a man, how much would you say that you believe that statement now, that you are less than a man?
I guess more like a 50. I mean, I know that I'm a good man to my family, especially my girls, but I just need to remember I'm doing the best I can.
Okay, that's wonderful. So why don't in this last column, we'll write that down as something that you can do when you start to think that you're less than a man.
Okay.
Do you think that's something that you can do in the future to remind yourself that you're doing the best that you can?
Yeah, I think I could do that.
Okay, good. Do you have somewhere you could maybe put that saying down so you can remind yourself?
Yeah, I could put it on the fridge, I guess, since Danielle loves those motivational quotes.
Okay, good. So when you start to notice your mood change or you have thoughts of being less than a man, I want you to try and remind yourself. Okay, so when you had a lot of those automatic thoughts this week that made you feel sad, angry, and frustrated, but when you actually stop to evaluate these thoughts, it seems likely that you can remind yourself that you're doing the best that you can. When you really look at the evidence and answer the thought, you feel better. Is that right?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay. So how about for homework this week, I'd like you to look for these automatic thoughts again, and when you start to notice that your mood is changing. These thoughts may have a grain of truth, but often I think you'll find that they're not necessarily completely true. So next week what we'll do is we'll look for evidence together to figure out whether the thoughts you wrote down for homework are completely accurate, okay?
Okay.
Now I also want you to remember that identifying and evaluating your thoughts is a skill for you to learn, kind of like riding a bike. You may not be very good at it at first, but with practice you'll get better and better, and I'll continue to teach you more about this in future sessions. So we can see what you can do this week just to identify some thoughts, but don't expect yourself to be an expert right away. Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that's alright.
Just one more thing. When you do write down some of these thoughts this week, I want you to remind yourself again that the thoughts may or may not be true. Otherwise, writing them down before you've learned to evaluate them could make you feel a little bit worse.
Okay.
So we'll go ahead and write this assignment down, and once you've written it down, I'd like you to move on to the second agenda item whenever you're ready. Alright, well I have second on the agenda discussing you staying at home alone. How does that sound?
That sounds fine.
Okay. So you mentioned that you've been staying at home quite a bit and that Danielle has been bothering you about staying at home. What are some of the advantages of you staying at home alone?
Well, I mean, I won't use any drugs or alcohol. That's mostly it. If I'm not around people who use or in those places, then I can't use.
Okay. So if you stay at home alone, you won't use any drugs or alcohol. Are there any other advantages to you staying at home alone?
Well, if I'm not using drugs or alcohol and I'm staying at home alone, I definitely can't get arrested. And if I don't get arrested, I can be there for my girls.
Okay, so it sounds like another advantage to staying at home alone is that you won't get arrested. Are there any other benefits to staying at home alone?
Not that I can think of. I think that's mostly it. I won't get arrested or use any drugs or alcohol. I think that's it.
Okay. Now let's look at some of the disadvantages of staying at home alone. What are some of the disadvantages you can think of about staying at home alone by yourself?
Well, Danielle doesn't like it for one. She says I just sleep all the time when I'm home by myself. I mean, I guess she's right though. I do sleep a lot.
So you sleep a lot when you're at home alone. Why would this be a disadvantage to staying at home alone?
Well, I mean, I guess if I'm sleeping, I'm not doing anything really. When I'm not doing anything, I don't know, feel worse.
Ray, could you clarify what you mean by feeling worse?
I don't know, I feel bad. I guess maybe I feel depressed.
So you feel depressed when you're at home by yourself. What goes through your mind?
Pretty much the same things we talked about already. I should be working, I'm worthless, those types of things.
Okay. So when you're sitting at home alone, you start to feel depressed, which then leads to your mind wandering?
Yeah, it does. But I just don't know what else to do. I don't want to go out and be around those people and places anymore.
Okay, so why don't we explore together what you can do instead of staying at home alone? What are some things you can think of that you can do instead of staying at home by yourself?
I don't know.
Okay, so why don't we explore what you can do instead of staying at home alone? What are some things you can think of you can do instead of staying at home by yourself?
I don't know. I could go for a walk or something, but it's so cold right now, though. I don't really see myself doing that, actually.
Okay, well that's a good start. Maybe we can write that down for when the weather is a little warmer and a little nicer. But what do you think you can do now, even though it's cold outside?
Maybe take my girls and Danielle to a movie.
That sounds like a great idea. Going to the movies with your girls and Danielle. Do you think Danielle and your girls would want to go to the movies with you?
Yeah, definitely. I haven't taken them out in, I don't know how long. It's been too long.
Well, it definitely sounds like Danielle and your girls would love to have a family date with you. So why don't we go ahead and write that down as part of your homework this week? Maybe commit to taking your girls and Danielle out to the movies this week? Is there anything else that you can do that may be good for your sobriety instead of staying at home alone?
I mean, I go to my AA meetings now, but I've only been going once a week. Maybe I could go 3 or 4 times a week.
That's a great idea, but I do know you have a pretty busy schedule. You know, you go to school, you do help out Danielle with the girls. Do you think your schedule will allow enough time to go to 3 or 4 meetings a week?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm at school 4 days a week, help out with my girls in the morning, and when they get home from school, I'm trying to get a job too, so. And I also have to take the bus to school and a different one to get to my home group for a meeting. I guess maybe I could start going twice a week. I think I can handle that a little more. 3 or 4 might be too many.
It definitely sounds like your schedule would be better suited for you to go to 2 meetings a week, and that it will help you not only get out of the house, but it'll also be beneficial for you to stay sober. Would you also like to write down for homework to maybe commit to going to 2 AA meetings a week?
Yeah, I think so. I think Danielle would like that too. Like I said, she just wants to see me get out of the house, and I don't know. I guess I want to get out of the house too. I think it would be good for the both of us.
It sounds like it would be beneficial for you, but also to your relationship with Danielle as well.
Yeah, I guess so.
All right, Ray. Well, we only have a couple minutes left in our session today, so I would like to summarize what we covered today, and then I'll ask for your reaction to the session.
Okay.
So just to summarize, it seems like you felt a little less depressed this week since you did really well in school and your professor gave you some pretty positive feedback. But then you started to feel a little angry and sad when you were at home alone. You started to have some negative thoughts. So what we did is we looked at some of the evidence of that thought that you had that you were less than a man, and you came up with a pretty good strategy to remind yourself that you're doing the absolutely best that you can right now. And then we also looked at some of the advantages and disadvantages of you staying at home alone. We discussed some alternatives to you staying at home alone that not only benefit you and Danielle, but they also promote your sobriety. We also discussed you identifying and evaluating your automatic thoughts, which is a skill we'll continue to practice in therapy together. Do you think that just about covers our session today?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. Now, Ray, what did you think about the session today? Was there anything I said that bothered you? Anything that I possibly got wrong?
No, it was good. It's hard for me to remind myself I'm doing the best I can, but I'll try. And also, I didn't realize I tell myself that I should do things so much. I just think that's what I'm supposed to do as the man of the house, but you're right, I'm just doing the best I can.
Okay, was there anything else about the session? Is there anything else you wanted us to do differently next time?
No, I don't think so.
Alright, that sounds good. I'll see you next week.
Alright.